The phone rang, splitting the pre-dawn quiet of the barracks. It was one of those calls you know is bad before you even answer. The kind that makes the air go cold. I was on a short leave, staying near the base, waiting for my next deployment. "Is this Mr. Evans?" A clipped, official voice asked. "Speaking," I said, my throat dry. "I'm a Navy man. We're used to calls at odd hours, but not on our personal lines. This is Officer Miller with the State Police." "Sir, there's been an accident. A serious one. Your wife, Amelia Evans, she's been in a critical crash. The floor seemed to drop out from under me. Amelia. My Amelia." Images flashed through my mind. Her laugh, the way her eyes crinkled when she smiled, the scent of lavender in her hair. We'd just spoken last night. She was driving to her sister's house, a 2-hour trip she'd made 100 times. Is she okay?" My voice was a choked whisper. "She's at St. Jude's Hospital. They're doing everything they can. Sir, we need you to come down." I threw on my clothes, my hands shaking so badly I could barely button my shirt. The drive was a blur. The world outside my windshield, the trees, the other cars, the rising sun, it was all just noise. My entire universe had shrunk to the sterile white walls of a hospital I hadn't even reached yet. At the emergency room, Officer Miller met me. He had a kind but tired face. He started explaining the details: a truck that ran a red light, the rain-slicked road, but his words were just a buzzing in my ears. All I could focus on was the knot of dread in my stomach. "I need to see her," I said, cutting him off. He hesitated. "She's in surgery. The doctor will be out to speak with you soon." I paced the waiting room for what felt like an eternity. Finally, a surgeon in blue scrubs came out, his face grim. He said the words no husband ever wants to hear. "Massive internal injuries. We did our best." "I'm so sorry." The world went silent. I just stood there, unable to process it. Amelia was gone. My compass, my anchor, my home gone. The police officer handed me a small plastic bag with her belongings. Her wallet, her keys, and her phone. Its screen shattered. He looked at me with deep sympathy. "We need to finalize the report. Mr. Evans." The other driver. He didn't make it either. "For our records, we need to understand what happened." He paused, then asked gently, "Was there anything unusual? Was she distracted? Was she on a call?" I looked at him, the pieces of the last 24 hours clicking together in a way that made no sense. The phone call last night. Her voice, distant and a little sad. She'd said she loved me, which wasn't unusual, but the way she said it, it felt like a period at the end of a long sentence. I took a deep breath, the air burning my lungs. The truth was heavy. A stone I didn't know how to lift. I had to tell him. I had to tell someone. My gaze dropped to the floor as the words tumbled out, barely audible. "Officer," I started, my voice cracking. I had to tell them she was gone. He looked confused. "I'm sorry, son. I don't understand." "We just told you." "No," I interrupted, shaking my head. "You don't get it. Amelia, she passed away 6 months ago." The silence that followed was heavier than any I'd ever known. The officer and the doctor exchanged a look of complete bewilderment. I could see the questions in their eyes. Was this man in shock? Had grief finally broken him? I pulled out my wallet, my fingers fumbling as I took out a folded piece of paper. It was a death certificate. Amelia Evans. Date of death: 6 months prior. Cause: a sudden, aggressive illness that took her from me in less than a month. I was at her bedside. I whispered, tears finally streaming down my face. I held her hand as she left. I buried her. Officer Miller stared at the paper, then back at me. But the crash. The woman in the car. Her ID, it says Amelia Evans. It's a perfect match to her driver's license photo. My blood ran cold. I took her shattered phone from the bag. The last call was from me, last night. I remembered it clearly. I was lonely, missing her so much it felt like a physical ache. I'd dialed her number just to hear her voicemail greeting one more time. I did it sometimes. But last night was different. After the beep, I didn't hang up. I just started talking to her, telling her about my day, about how the guys on the base were doing, about how much I missed her. And then she answered. Her voice, faint and ethereal, came through the line. I miss you too, Michael. I thought I was dreaming, or that my grief was making me hallucinate. We talked for almost an hour. She sounded like herself, but also different, peaceful. She told me not to be sad, that she was okay, and that she would always be watching over me. She said she had to go, but that she loved me. The call ended, and I sat in the dark, wondering if I'd lost my mind. Now, standing in this hospital, I knew it was real. The woman in that car, I said, my voice steady now. Where is she? They took me to a quiet room. A kind nurse pulled back a sheet. Primeta looked down and my breath caught in my throat. It was her. It was Amelia. She looked just as she had in my memories. Beautiful. Not a mark on her. It was impossible. She was supposed to be. Goni. Goni. I reached out and touched her hand. It wasn't cold like I remembered. It was just still. I never got an explanation. The records were a mess. The dental records matched. The fingerprints matched. To the state. To the law. The woman who died in that crash was Amelia Evans. But I knew the truth. My Amelia had already said her goodbyes. I think she came back for one last drive, one last conversation. To tell me it was okay to let go. Maybe she knew I needed to hear it one more time. From her. Maybe she was driving to her sister's, finishing a journey she never got to complete. Or maybe she was just driving back to me. I don't talk about it. Who would believe me? But sometimes, on a quiet night, I still pull out my phone. I never dial her number again. I don't need to. I know she's listening. If this story touched you, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more stories from the heart. I'm curious to know what you think happened. Was it a miracle? A final goodbye? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for listening.